So there is a new Pokemon game spinoff coming out. I was kind of hoping that would be finally getting a new Mystery Dungeon or Pokemon Ranger, but we'll gain a strange game where you play as Ditto. Already kind of strange as it is, but again, considering the fact that you learn stuff from these Pokemon as well to build your Pokemon community as well. Maybe this is how Pokemon Mystery Dungeon works. Okay, we always wondered how Pokemon Society functions in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon as well. Okay, but it seems that Game Freak is still in 2026. Cause that's when this game's coming out. Still pandering towards Gen 1. Okay, you can't make this shit up. We're still pandering towards mostly Gen 1. So out of this chart here, let's count every single non-Gen 1 Pokemon. I count 1, 2, 3, Zoroark's in the grass, 4, 5, 6 is Mallow, 7, I think I see that's Rookity, 8, 9, 10, 11, I think Type of Tyranitar's in the background, so 12. But half the Pokemon that was shown here are Gen 1 Pokemon. If you count Ditto, the playable count, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I didn't see Sudowoodo now. Sudowoodo's in the game. Okay, that's 14, 19, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Both Hitmons on 20 and 21. Oh, I didn't see Mimikyu and Gulpin and Drifloon, okay. But then also I didn't see Abos for 22, 23 for Geodude. Arcanine's 24. It's just, I get it. A lot of people have nostalgia for Gen 1, okay? It's kind of like when Sega kept pandering towards classic Sonic fans. It was extremely annoying, okay? Like, there's more errors to Sonic than this classic Sonic, okay? But Pokemon, this has always been the case for a long time. There's overt pandering towards Generation 1, okay? Heck, even in the DLC, they chose 2 Gen 1 Pokemon to show off first, okay? And heck, when Pokemon X and Y got revealed, okay, almost all the Megas were Generation 1 Pokemon. Oh yes, let's not give any Megas to any Gen 6 Pokemon, even though Megas, are from Kalos. No, let's give it all to Gen 1 Pokemon, because of course, we gotta completely pander towards Gen 1 nostalgia as well, okay? Like, people have always criticized Sega for nostalgia baiting and nostalgia pandering of classic Sonic, okay? But no one talks about how, much pandering Gen 1 gets as well, okay? Gen 1 Pokemon always get the most representation, and I get it's the first generation of Pokemon. So also I think this picks Swablu's in it, and also Pichu, but the thing of Pichu and Happiny, they're still connected with Gen 1 Pokemon as well, okay? And I just think this is just the problem of Game Freak, this pandering towards Gen 1. It's just getting old and sick and tiring at this point, okay? You have 9 generations. You could easily make it equal for every generation. Or at least, generations are the most amount. So technically, Gen 6 and 7 will be represented the least because they have the least amount of Pokemon. I think Gen 8 will be right afterwards. And so Gen 2 doesn't really have many either. But Gen 3 and Gen 4 and Gen 5 all have a decent amount of Pokemon. Gen 9 as well, okay, has a decent amount of Pokemon. Even Gen 8 has like 80 and 90 new Pokemon. Why are we still overrepresenting Generation 1 when, I'm going to go on the percentage calculator for a, so out of the Pokemon that have been shown, okay, so that's, let's say it's 15. I think I saw, I didn't notice, okay, that's an apple. Okay, 13 plus the 21 Generation 1 Pokemon as well. Okay, so that's our 34. So Generation 1 Generation 1 Pokemon make up 61% of Pokemon that are confirmed to be in this game as well. You can put on 151 how many Pokemon out there. And even like that in Pokemon Go, they literally chose Generation 1 to add the first Pokemons to promote Pokemon Go. Okay, as well. Okay, Generation 1, out of all of the Pokemon, only make up less than 15% of Pokemon, but for some reason, Game Freak thinks it's to pander to, because this is what I mean by pandering for Generation 1. Same thing with Megas, same thing of all this other stuff. Pandering towards Gen 1 is just absolutely ridiculous. Okay, makes it, maybe, especially promoting Gen 9. Okay, how many Gen 9 Pokemon out there? Palmy, I think, is here. Tatsugiri, I think that's 2. Okay, because these games are usually supposed to promote the latest generation of Pokemon. Okay, here as well. I think that's just 2 out of 2 out of the 35 Pokemon or so. Okay, as well. Absolutely ridiculous, Game Freak. 2 out of the 35 Pokemon are shown are from the latest generation, which is only less than 6% of the Pokemon shown. Okay, as well. Okay, and Gen 2 also has a decent amount of Pokemon shown here. With a lot of Gen 2 Pokemon like Happiny, which is shown here, as a baby evolution of Gen 1 Pokemon, or some Pokemon simply just picked for the popularity, like Piplup obviously is picked for its popularity. But this is so a ridiculous Game Freak at this point. Okay, it's just baffling in 2026. And Game Freak says, you know what, instead of, representing every generation equally, okay, representing every Pokemon generation equally, okay, like a normal, and I know Game Freak is not the only one to do this. Disney does this, with their, I know some other companies do this, like Disney does it, obviously with the live action remakes as well. Hollywood does it as an attempt to basically bind it by nostalgia, basically give, what much is nostalgia? As well, I know on Rare and other screen, and there's some other screenshots they sold, and they sold more than this generate. They sold way more than Generation 1. But when I first saw it, like, you gotta be kidding me. They really just promote, like, there's over 1,000 Pokemon, and half of the Pokemon zone, yeah. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, this is why, like, once we get to like Pokemon raids and stuff, okay, Pokemon raids, they usually had it in the most newest Pokemon. Or Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, they say plus add in all the Pokemon. And what's about Gates of Infinity, which is used to promote Generation 1. But what's happened to promoting the newest generation of Pokemon? Okay, without spin-off, with Pokemon spin-offs. Like, honestly. Okay. Yeah. I just don't understand. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and yeah, I'm not too excited. I would be more excited for this game if Game Freak just didn't overrepresent Generation 1, okay? And this overrepresentation of Gen 1 kind of started after the backlash of Gen 5, which I really do believe this Gen 1 pandering really started because of the massive backlash Gen 5 had. So if you do not remember, I've been living under a rock. All of the Gen 1ers were bashing Generation 5 because, where's my Charizard? Where's my Pikachu? I cannot play this Pokemon game. I don't want to give these 150 new Pokemon a chance. I gotta, worry about nostalgia, okay? And this is why, my hatred towards the word nostalgia this kind of started, okay? Because Gen 1ers really ruined Pokemon for everybody. 156 Pokemon, okay? But I know Gen 5 has become now very popular, okay? But when Gen 5 came out, oh, Gen 5's the worst because they have the ice cream cone Pokemon and the garbage Pokemon. Okay, it's only because they didn't have a, generic rat Pokemon, generic snake Pokemon, a broad Pokemon, okay? Like, I think an ice cream cone Pokemon is a very unique and creative idea, okay? Instead of rewarding creativity, the Pokemon community really just had meltdowns because it wasn't as great as Gen 1, okay? And this is why we're at the way we are with Pokemon, okay? I think the downhill of Pokemon started with the backlash of Generation 5, which I think was very, very, very undeserved, considering how great the Gen 5 games were, okay? Gen 5 games, of course, are not as great as Platinum or Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but they were still amazing games. And ever since then, Pokemon has gone downhill. They reduced the number of Pokemon, mostly because of 3D, okay, as well. They have gotten way worse, of how they handle the fan base because they don't want another Gen 5 backlash again. That's why they started pandering towards, Generation 1 so much. Okay. Yeah. And now we're at the way we are with Game Freak. Okay. As well. Walking behind Pokemon behind a paywall. Okay. As well. Okay. Like absolutely ridiculous. They're really walking you down behind a paywall as well. Yeah. Yeah. But this is why modern Pokemon games just suck. I remember I consider Gen 4, Gen 3, Gen 3, specifically the Gen 5 as the golden age. I know 4 times I try to tell you it's Generation 2. Okay. But Generation 3 for Generation 5 was the best part of Pokemon. Why? Okay. And I'll actually I'll probably make a separate video about this, why it is the best era. But yeah. Absolutely ridiculous. Gen 1 pandering is just getting old after a while. When I get Gen 4 pandering, Gen 3 pandering, Gen 2 pandering, Gen 5 pandering. Okay. I would love to see more Gen 5 pandering. Gen 5 is great. Goodbye.